Hello there, and welcome to day 18 of Shop Talk, the 30-day reset for auto repair shop owners. I'm Rachael Evans, founder and CEO of the Workshop Whisperer. If you are finding this video series for the first time, we're here at one of the busiest times of the year to show you that the old excuse of I don't have time is just that. It's just an excuse. And if something is important enough for you, you will create the time. And most importantly, you will create the time to work on your business. So today, day 18, on the calendar, it is the 28th of December. I just had to have a look at my notebook then because this time of year, it is easy to lose track of what the days are. One of the biggest time traps and where the excuse I don't have time comes from in your auto repair shop is the belief that you don't have time to invest in your team. Now, you will see day in and day out that there are fires for you to put out on the workshop floor, out at the service desk, behind the scenes in your accounting. And you will have a belief that who you have in your team and the way that new team members come to you and their skill level is kind of just what you have to deal with. And if you're lucky, the skill level of new people who come to you is something that will add to your business and not take away from it. There's a trap in leadership that has you also believe that you don't have time to develop anyone. But it's that voice that will actually prevent you from succeeding with your team at the level that you need them to if you're going to enjoy the benefits of business ownership, being time and money freedom and the satisfaction of having developed something and grown something that means something. And part of that satisfaction won't just sit with you, it will sit in the knowledge and the visible evidence that you've helped develop people. And while they're working for you in your business, you've helped them develop meaningful skills, skills that will go on to serve them well beyond their time with you. Now, I spoke earlier in this series about how we need to develop our people so well that they will go on and be successful elsewhere, but create a culture around them that means they won't want to leave you. And I got asked the question, well, that sounds great, but how do you do that? And the way that you do this, and this isn't auto repair specific, this is best business practice, best leadership practice, best business owner practice. And that is you put the time into every single one of your people. If there is someone on your team who you have lost the trust in to develop time into, you've got to take a step back and go, well, is this a personality clash? Is this because no matter how much time I put into them, they're not coming along? Is this because I can tell they flat out disrespect me? If there's someone like that in your team, then it's a really great indication that the person shouldn't be on your team if you know you've put everything into them or into the opportunity for them to succeed with you. If it's still not working, you've got to move them on and you've got to bring someone in who you can have another opportunity with of success. But what it looks like is quite time consuming, which is why when you're busy, when you've overbooked and you're just trying to get all the vehicles out, you will be inclined to go out and problem solve for your team members. You won't employ the 1-3-1 method because you've got to have patience for that to work. And you will just come out of your office, out onto the workshop floor, and it'll be, this is how you fix this. Give it here. I'll do it for you. Give it here. It's faster if I do it. Or your team makes a mistake that you feel only you can fix, and you don't actually allow them to observe or feel you've got the time to allow them to observe how to correct the mistake. There might be a big mistake that's been made. It requires you to do the physical work to fix it, but you don't then have a full debrief with your team, either in the daily huddle or in a special team meeting, and you don't ask the team to contribute their thoughts on why it went wrong. So developing your team actually requires a bit of a slowdown in periods, and that is something you simply think you don't have time for when you're too busy. So we'll have a quick look right now at what it can look like daily, weekly, monthly, over the course of a year for you to develop time into your people so that you can grow leaders that can help you with the time freedom thing, so that you can grow apprentices into skilled qualified technicians. There are enough qualified technicians out there that appear to have not enough skills, so we don't need any more of those. But skilled qualified technicians. And it starts off by how you interact daily. Now, when you're the only employee in your business, this is going to feel like today, day 18 of this series, is not even relevant to you. But something I've been saying from the very start of the Workshop Whisperer is you need to put $1 million systems into your business well before you're turning over $1 million. And the mindset of this type of leadership is the system that you would apply. So even when you're small and it's just you, and that mindset would look like upskilling yourself in leadership mindset before you're required to lead anyone other than yourself. And in many cases, the most important leadership required here is of self, because it's got to lead you to the discipline required to stick to the process you'll need of growing the people in your team. So on a daily basis, it looks like when you've got more than you in the team, that process I mentioned early in the first week of this series, where we're checking in for a 7-minute daily huddle. Okay, start of the day, you're laying out what's on for the day ahead, what you're working towards in terms of targets, and discussing the day before, particularly where something went wrong and what can be done to avoid that happening again. Then, if we're getting really sophisticated, we're checking back in just after lunch to see where everyone's at, if anyone needs help, and what would need to occur for everything to go out by closing time that day, so that everyone gets out on time. Then we might have a weekly team meeting that goes for a bit longer. Maybe this one's half an hour, where you set out your objectives for the week, what each team member needs to contribute, where productivity and efficiency are sitting where you need them to sit, where sales revenue is sitting where you need it to sit. With the service advisor, you might specifically talk about gross profit, average repair order, where that needs to sit. But we also need to have a quick retrospective look at the week before, address where time got away, hours were written off, any customer complaints, etc. And also, very importantly, addressing the wins. Then on a monthly basis, we might have a team meeting that is 30 minutes to an hour that goes a bit deeper into the analysis of how the team went for the month. And on a quarterly basis, you need to have your deep dive check-in with each team member. This means we call it at the Workshop Whisperer something called the Feedback Forum. It's one of our unique pieces of content that we have developed, and every client gets access to the Feedback Forum system that they can swipe and implement into their own business. But essentially, this right now, so being the 28th of December, you're probably in some downtime, and it's a great time to go into your Google Calendar and set out a quarterly system that repeats for every team member so that you are checking in with them. It's you and them go and meet either in the staff room where you can't be interrupted, or you organize it so you're taking them out of the workshop and you're, off to have lunch or off to have a coffee or something like that. Take note here if your little voice in your head is saying, oh my God, she's got no idea, as if we would have the time to do that. That's your fear mind. Your fear mind prevents you from moving forward. It keeps you comfortable. You've just got to keep in mind, I want a different result next year. I need to try something different. So you're having this in-depth quarterly conversation with your team members, and it is not the old style performance review that you might have grown up with. It is a feedback forum, which means we're after your team members' feedback on how they believe they're going in the role. What can they see from their vantage point that they can share with you that you might not see? We're after feedback. Then, once you've received their feedback and you've discussed that and you're open to receiving feedback because it helps you grow and it ultimately will help the business grow, you're able to provide your feedback on how you believe they're going in the role. And there might be some things that you were working on with them over the quarter based on the feedback forum beforehand. If they're new in the business, they're probably on probation, and you might want to check in with them in this format every 6 weeks as opposed to once a quarter. The great news about a system like this is that the rules are there for you to make. Now, there are some clients that we work with that have much larger workforces, and they feel it is too hard to do more than one check-in like this per year. I don't recommend that, because you can lose the trust and the confidence of a team member over the course of a year. If you're checking in with your team members in this type of check-in that is deliberate, it is away from everybody else, it invites their honest feedback, and you do it at least once a quarter, you've got the opportunity to talk through any resentment or issues that your team member is disgruntled about before it festers into something full-blown and you lose an A player because you weren't aware of it. Now, in our size auto repair shops, whether somewhere between one person and normally around 10 or 12 would be the max. You don't have full-time HR support. You might contract to somebody that is able to give you advice and write you work agreements and things like that. Don't delegate these types of conversations to that person. It is so important in small business that you have your finger on the pulse of these types of things. Once your team gets to the size where you've got another leader in the business, workshop foreman, service manager, and there's people reporting directly to them, you would then teach them this framework, and you would sit in on the feedback forum for the first couple of times they do it, but then you leave them to run the system. Of course, you read every feedback forum and what happened and what the action items are for the team member for the following quarter, and you use it as a training thing for the leader as well. But then you, as the business owner, then do the feedback forums of your leaders. So we're establishing a bit of a training hierarchy here. And there was a client just recently who was in this position where they now have leaders, workshop foreman, service manager. There's a couple of team members feeding into each one. And they are now running this feedback forum process for those members of their team and the opportunity it provides their growth and development as a team member, as a leader, that they are then going to be able to utilize and grow for the time that they are employed there, but also setting them up for future roles. Now, I know that's not something you want to think about, people's future roles outside of your business, but we're still in the business of developing humans here. Unless you're determined to be a solo operator, and that's totally okay if that's where you're at. But if you are in the business of growing a business that requires a team, you must be in the business of developing human potential. And this is by far the best and most successful way we have discovered of doing that. We use it exclusively inside the Workshop Whisperer. It's what has helped my team grow from just me to looking after 15 people and helping those people develop as humans inside the business and also develop skills in them that will serve them for the rest of their working lives. So I could say I don't have time to do that, but the Workshop Whisperer wouldn't be what it is today if that was my thought process. And your business won't ever develop the people inside of it that you need to have the business success that you want, that ultimately fuels the lifestyle success that you want. So don't be afraid to develop time and skills into your people. It is necessary to grow the business you want, and it should give you a thrill to watch the skills develop in your team members, because most of the skills that we develop outside of the technical sense as people, as humans, serve us in all aspects of our life. So you can be proud that you're part of the development of those people and what they will go and take out into the world. So get your calendar out, create recurring quarterly events for each team member. When you're a member of the engine room, you actually get the feedback forum template and everything that you need to set this system up. But when you're doing it yourself, schedule it like an appointment that is never missed. Your team members will then trust you that you are there to help them develop, and they'll rely on these in-depth quarterly check-ins to be able to learn and grow and to give you feedback that you guys might be too busy for those type of conversations during the quarter. So just to recap, we've got our 7-minute daily huddle. We've got our weekly team meeting, our monthly longer team meeting, and our quarterly feedback forum. Take those things away, schedule them into your calendar now while you're having some downtime, and I'll be back tomorrow for day 19 of Shop Talk.